Thanks for stopping by. Not sure how the light's gonna work in here, but I'm gonna give it a try. Also, I think that the air conditioning, there's a lot of weird elements of this spot that I'm sitting in that may not make this work, but I'm gonna give it a try. I'm gonna do a quick video today on what I like to call LP Revisited. This is a record that was originally released in 1999 by the Athens, Georgia band, the OLIVIA Tremor Control. This album is Black Foliage Animation Music Volume 1. It's their second studio LP. I'm basically going to briefly talk about this. I'm not going to give a history of OLIVIA Tremor Control or go into depth on anything. Now I'll give some thoughts on a little bit of an overview of the album. Then at the end, I'll briefly talk about the differences between the two US vinyl pressings of the record. So this is the second studio LP for the OLIVIA Tremor Control. Like I say, it was released in 1999. This is heavily influenced by 1960s psychedelic pop music. In the mid-90s, on the internet, there were bootlegs of the Beach Boys' Smile that were easily attainable that they were listening to. But they're also influenced by electronic music like bands like Noi, or one that they've cited is White Noises and Electric Storm, like that album, which I guess was turned on to them while they were touring with the Super Furry Animals. So it kind of takes more psychedelic pop or weird psychedelic pop and kind of folds it in with more experimental stuff, I guess. It plays mainly as a single piece, so like you can't tell where one song ends, one song and the next song begins. It's 27 tracks. In fact, like this is the on the original LP, like the songs aren't listed. Comes with a CD booklet, but it's almost like you're just to listen to it as a single piece. There are songs. I mean, there's 20. If you have the CD, there's 27 tracks listed. There's 27 tracks on the insert that's in the reissue. So oftentimes there will be pop tracks that will just break down into some experimental like diversion or passage, and then work their way back to the pop track that it was. But there's also, there are some areas where it's fairly experimental for an extended period of time, which I think can make this somewhat difficult to get into, I guess would be the way I would put it. There's many non-traditional instruments used, like saws, and it is the one that gets cited all the time, the guitar, organ, things like that. It was recorded on 4-track cassette and also 8-track reel-to-reel. I think they started recording it. Technically, some of this was recorded when they recorded their first album, so it's like between 95 and 98. There's kind of a dreams theme, like Sleepy Company, and just the kind of the recurring musical themes that keep popping up, similar to Beach Boys' Smile. In the album, their debut album, Dusk at Cubist Castle, they asked for people to send in tape recordings of them talking about their dreams or telling them their dreams. And those are used, like sampled in the album. not in a ton of places, but where you can really notice it. I think it's used more than you can tell, but where people are like talking about their dreams. So this is a nearly 70-minute album. I think I consider this a true double album. It's the first LP is just under a half hour, and the second LP is like 40 minutes, so, or about 40 minutes, so yeah. Let me use this insert so I can see the song titles. So the first track, or the first side, this album has 27 tracks. The first side, I guess I'll show this to you. This is the insert that came with the 2011 reissue, which I'll talk about here in a few minutes. So the first side is 9 tracks. It opens with a song called Opening, which is just theremin. I don't know if it's one theremin or many theremin, but it's just like a half minute that just feeds right into the song, a peculiar noise called Train Director. And that kind of it kind of lays the groundwork for what to expect for the whole album, and the like breaking it, how it breaks down, changes. It's weird pop, psych. So the first and only single that was released from this is called Hideaway. That's also on the first side. And then A Sleepy Company and Grass Canyons. So there's really just like 4 tracks and then interstitials that make up the all 9 tracks.
Don't hide away from all your daydreams. Watch the feeling surrounded in apathy. Putting down words is just like going deep away. Some kind of rain will fall.
So the second side has, I guess, what would that be? Seven tracks on the second side. Really just similarly how I'd say there's a few songs and then there's other stuff. Highlights are I Have Been Floated and A Place We Have Been To, I would say. So the first album and the first 2 sides are similar. They're similar in length. They have the pop songs, even though some of them, like I say, this stuff breaks down and comes back around, and then there's interstitials that are just like weirdness. But side 3, the first, the second LP, the first side of the second LP, or side 3, is 4 tracks, one of which is The Bark and Below It, which is like an over 11-minute instrumental track, which I think I could accept somebody saying that it's a bit self-indulgent. So there's really 2 shorter experimental tracks than the Sylvan Scream, which is somewhat experimental on its own, but is, I think, a really good, it has pop stuff in it, and I think it's a really good song. I think for a lot of people, that third side is going to be make this a really tough, at that point they'll become tired of it. Especially, like I say, that 11-minute song. Like, I like it, but I like it in the context of listening to the whole album over time. But I can totally see like somebody saying if we took out side 3, this would be a much better album. I could see somebody saying that. for the final side, it's probably my favorite side. It picks everything back up. You're back to the more psychedelic, weird pop tracks like California Demise 3, Mystery is really good, another set of Bees in the Museum, and then Hilltop Procession, Momentum Gaining, is kind of this triumphant, like sing-along finish, you know, finishing track.
We will find a way to travel beyond mentally and the sky. How can we liberate the world of sound? Stop the ground. You can always take you back down.
So that's the album. I know a lot of people don't really like. I know when I've talked about Olivia Tremor Control and related things, most people don't care for this stuff at all. I think that this rates better than a lot of other like highly regarded psychedelic music from the 60s, 70s, from any era, in my opinion. But I can see not getting past the craziness for somebody that's a fan of that kind of stuff more exclusively. So this is the 1999 US release on Flydaddy. It comes in a single. There's 2 records in, you know, not a gatefold. And it has the booklet, which is the CD booklet, basically. Which I might add has words that are difficult to read, even for people that can read. So no song titles, flimsy jacket. I was gonna say something about, I'll say more in a minute. So then in 2011, I believe, there was a reissue by it's on Chunklet, which is it's like a Georgia media thing. I remember it being like, it published what amounted to like a zine or a small magazine, and they have released reissues and possibly some regular albums. Anyway, so theirs is in a Stoughton like tip-on gatefold jacket. So if you're comparing the packaging, the reissue from 2011 is much better. I'll show you the artwork. It's the front cover is the same but different. The colors are different. You can see the black swan more easily on the reissue. The back of the gatefold is different. It's not even like the same but different colors. But anyway, packaging wins here. This one does come with the insert that I showed. It has the songs and has a bunch of words. This has words like talking about things I probably should have been talking about. Just says deluxe 2LP. It comes with downloads with bonus material. And this is technically remastered. I listened to both of them. It's really hard to really judge the difference on this. You can tell that the remaster sounds different. It doesn't sound hugely different to me. I think that I prefer the way that the original sounds, but not by a huge wide margin. Where this one falls down is that it was pressed in the early 2010s when there is often issues. So the spindle hole's too small. There's no fill. But the sound is actually, I would say, good. Like, I actually, before I sat down to do this, I looked it up because I was interested, like, how much does this cost, the reissue? Because I'm like, if you can buy this still for retail for $20 or $25, I think that the trade-offs are acceptable. I looked it up though, and it's apparently no longer in print, and people want like $80 for it. So if you can only get it, like if you have to pay that kind of money for the reissue, like, to me this wins running away in that scenario. For those that are interested, I mean, I'll put some sort of chapters in. So that's all I've got for you. Quick discussion, hopefully, on the Olivia Tremor Control's 1999 album, Black Foliage Animation Music, Volume 1. Moderately in-depth, sort of, not really. Appreciate you for checking this out. I'll be back before you know it with a recent spins video.